Good evening, everyone. It's my great pleasure and honor to present for the Distinguished Alumni Citation this evening, Jose Miguel Aleman. Now, I actually had the opportunity to work with Jose here at Ripon for only 1 year, because I started in 1976, and this was a year that he was spending his junior year abroad. However, we did work very closely together his senior year in a couple of courses as well as this senior seminar. Yet even in that relatively short period of time, Jose stood out not only for his outstanding academic work, which earned him magna cum laude honors, as well as admission to Tulane University School of Law upon graduating from Ripon, but not only for that outstanding work, but also for his seriousness of purpose and, frankly, his steely resolve. This was a serious young man. This is somebody who understood what was going on in the world, strove to understand it better, knew that there were very serious events taking place in his country of Panama, which was under military dictatorship at the time, and you could tell he was determined to do something about it, to develop his skills and abilities so that he could make a difference in the life of his country and really the world. And he succeeded in doing that. I don't want to suggest that he didn't know how to have fun and relax when the time was right for that. And we had a chance to share some of those times as well. I don't know if it was at the spot or not. Where was it? Yeah, Al Bender's definitely. The greatest college bar Ripon has ever seen. That wasn't in my notes, but all these qualities that I just mentioned stood him in very good stead when, after earning that law degree from Tulane University, decided to return to Panama and enter the political life of this country at great personal risk at a time when a vicious dictator was in power, Mr. Noriega. He, along with friends and colleagues, helped form a political party at that time known as the Arnulfista Party, led by a man who was in exile at the time because his life was threatened by the dictator, Dr. Arnulfo Arias. They built that party from the grassroots up in very difficult circumstances. And Jose worked his way up from the local level to the regional level and ultimately the national level. When the dictatorship was overthrown and democracy was reinstated, Dr. Arias had passed away, but his widow was elected president in 1999, and she named Jose as her foreign minister, same position that we referred to as Secretary of State. He served in that capacity for 4 years. Probably the highlight of that time was on December 31st, 1999, when the control of the Panama Canal was formally handed over from the United States to the Republic of Panama. And Jose was the main diplomatic representative of Panama at that momentous event. As I said, that has to be one of the great highlights in the whole history of the Republic of Panama, and Jose was instrumental in helping to bring that about and in handling the transfer, which I might say at the time was questioned by some in the United States. The wisdom was questioned as to whether Panama was capable of handling those responsibilities of this extremely vital sea link between Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. But we all know now they are more than capable of handling it. They've handled it extremely well and just completed a multi-billion-dollar expansion of the canal that's going to enable it to be profitable and serviceable well into the future. So as important as that moment was, I also noticed that it was December 31st, 1999. So something I hadn't had a chance to ask Jose yet was, did you and your colleagues that evening celebrate as if it were 1999? They did, oh, okay. You remember, many of you can remember this, when that song by Prince, Party Like It's 1999, came out, how long ago, or how long in the future that seemed it was going to be, and now how long in the past it seems like it is. Time is very mysterious, but we'll have to leave that for the philosophers and others. The following year, Jose was his party's nominee for president of the Panamanian Republic. Turned out there were multiple candidates that year, and he didn't quite get a plurality. But I want you to know he has remained very active in every facet of Panama's politics and governments right up to today. He's been a member of their Foreign Policy Advisory Council for a number of years. He informally advises presidents and other top officials there. There's no doubt he's been one of the most important leaders in his country over the time that he has spent there. I want to mention as well, he's just in the liberal arts tradition, and I think the Ripon tradition, active in many other areas as well. So he helped found a law firm that he and his partners have run successfully. He's been involved in banking with Javier and some other colleagues here. He's even been involved in horse racing and training jockeys. He just told me this evening that the jockey school that he and his partners have established have trained many very worldwide successful jockeys, including 2 of the top 10 in the world right now today. So it's in that spirit, along with his wife, Vicky, who is here. Their 2 children are not with us today, but raised a wonderful family, had a very active professional life in all these varied and diverse activities, and been a true agent of change toward democracy and good government in Panama. And we are very, very grateful for all those contributions. Thank you, Jose.
I am very honored to be here today with my wife, Vicky. Thank you, President Mesiti. Thank you, Marty. Thank you, class of 1978. We have the greatest class. We have 4 tables. I want to make amends. I haven't been back since 1988 or 10th anniversary, but I'm so happy to be back today, and I'm so happy to be here too with my colleagues and friends from Panama, Javier Carrizo and Rafael Carles, class of 1979, class of 1980. My wife, Vicky, we've been married for 35 years and counting. I always say that we have been living many lives together, and this is the present life. I keep chasing her in eternity, so hopefully we'll do many more. And Irene, who have been a wonderful professional and a wonderful mother and a wonderful wife to Javier. I would like to also thank Professor Marty Farrell. He was a great professor. He guided our class paper for graduation in politics and government. I would like to also thank the best class representative, Greg Peterson, who's done a wonderful job. And you know, democracy has its exceptions. Greg, you have a 10-year, additional tenure at least, and that is the unanimous feeling of our class. And your wonderful wife, Shirley, too. We have a wonderful first lady in the class of 1978. I would also like to mention and to thank John Sindar. John is a honorary Panamanian. He's my roommate from freshman year, and I think my roommate in many life interests. We have a group in Panama, a WhatsApp group called the Riponites. It's one of the most interesting groups, the most interesting group that I participate, because we are few and selected. And we have Rafael, who's a former editor of the main newspaper in Panama, and Juan Luis Correa, who's the former manager of the newspaper. And believe me, these people send the most interesting inside information that you can get in a group that is so small. I would like to mention also that I am, very, very honored. I'm going to cherish this my whole life. And I received this award on behalf of all my classmates, but especially the international classmates that were here with us. And especially I would like to mention one classmate from Ghana that you will all remember, because Cyril Dadie had the biggest heart and the biggest smile and the biggest spirit that probably in anybody from our class. And Cyril was a hell of a striker in our soccer team, and he made a great match with Rafael, and we had a great soccer team while we were here. And I thought it was fitting to mention that, especially that the World Cup is going on right now, and about 2 million people are following that World Cup. I would also like to mention a special Panamanian who made us come here and was the first Panamanian to come here, was Dr. Roderick Esquivel. Roderick is Javier's uncle, and he was at Tulane studying pre-med, or he went to study pre-med at Tulane, but he was not very good in his English, and his teacher told him, listen, you need to go and learn English very well to go to med school, so go to college somewhere else. And he sent him to Ripon College, because you're going to learn good English in Ripon. And Dr. Esquivel not only became a very well accomplished physician, he was also a politician, and he was vice president of Panama in the year 1984. And he was a dear friend of ours, and almost like family to me, uncle to Javier, and may God bless him always. I would also like to mention my Professor Seth Singleton. For me, he was very special. I had the opportunity to visit various colleges, and my grandfather was born in Baltimore, Maryland. My mother had American nationality until she gave up her passport in 1965. But when I decided, when I had the opportunity to come to college in the United States, I graduated from a Jesuit high school in Panama. I said, I want to go to the United States. I don't want to go to college in the United States to be in a place where I'm going to be hanging out with all Latin students. I want to be with American students. And I still think and believe that I made the right decision, and I still think and believe that I made the right decision to come to Ripon College, because I came here and Professor Singleton asked me, what are your goals in life? And he says, well, my immediate goal is to get into a good law school. And I was a foreigner. I speak pretty good English, but I was a foreigner, and I didn't know the system here, because in Latin America you memorize. And those Jesuits preach, they make you memorize everything. So here, no, here you have to think, and you have to read, and you have to write, and that's what you need to do to go to law school in the United States. So my first semester, I was telling you last night, we went to see the Brewers against the Cardinals, or the Cardinals against the Brewers. The Brewers are doing great this year. And I was sitting with Marty, and we were together at the game. And he said, how were you with the grades? I said, well, I got all A's, basically, and B's, but I got 2 C's. The first one was with Professor Davis in English in my freshman year, the first semester. And I went to him after a Christmas break, and I said, Professor, I think you were unfair with me. I deserved a B, not a C+. And he said, well, if you try harder, you get a B. And then the second semester, I got a B plus. So I wanted to mention some of those memories from our wonderful stay in Ripon. I also want to take this opportunity to send a message that when I came to Ripon, at that time, the world was occupied with tearing down walls. We had the Berlin Wall, and we had a series of walls that were preventing a real integration in humanity and the world, especially Marxism, communism, the Eastern Bloc. And I come back here, and it's been 40 years, and I think, how different is the world now? Because now the world wants to build walls, and I think this is a mistake. And I want to take this opportunity to mention that. And I think also, the first time I went to government in 1990, the first people that spoke to us about TLCs, which are now called TPCs, which were free trade agreements, were the Americans, the US Embassy. And we worked very hard for free trade and free commerce. We put it, because Panama is a small but very open country, but many Latin American countries are very closed. And we are the leaders in growth in Latin America after Chile. And we are the leaders in prosperity after Chile in Latin America, because we have been an open country. And in the United States and in America, they told me, never be afraid to compete. You have to compete. So now I see that not only in the United States, in Europe too, they want to build walls. They don't want to have free trade. They don't want to compete. And I think that Ripon should always stand for bridges, for connecting the human world, humanity. And I ask you that please keep alive this tradition, that we keep alive an international presence in the university. I'm very happy that we have a 10% international student rate, which is very, very good in this very competitive academic world and changing time in academics, and also to keep alive or opportunities for the student to study abroad at least a semester or a year. I think that is very important. I'm sure Ripon will continue with its traditions, and I am sure I will not take 30 years, God first, to come back and visit you again. Thank you, I'm very honored. Again, I receive this on behalf of the class of 1978.